Click on unmute. Okay, here we go. Turn me off?
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Henry.
Steve, you're saying you cool your heels for a while before you make another move. Yeah, no, hopefully we don't have to. We don't have to. And I know you paid a push of a bill tax bill and the person wants to do. There you go. Do we sit back right now and just see how all this stuff starts to work for us? I mean, if you're gonna get us.
Can people hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Who knows anything?
A couple of minutes to try and get this set up, and then we'll go. If you have questions, either raise your hand or dump it in the chat. I have one specific request of something to go over. So we'll start there. And let me see if I can get this set up so that I can see the grid of everyone who's in the audience.
Where's the chat line?
I told her that we could probably do a Zoom with her cousins. I'll try to set that up with Claire.
Okay. Sounds good.
I don't have a chat line, do you? Oh, I am. You're not. Sorry. Bye.
So we'll go ahead and get started here. I've set it up so that as people enter, they are automatically muted. But if you have a question to ask, I think you can unmute yourself and try to chime in. But anyway, I was asked about board 6, so that's where we'll start, I suppose. And does everyone see my screen here? I'm having video trouble, so I can't exactly see what's going on, but does everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can. I see it.
Okay, so let's talk about board 6. We'll use that as our springboard here. East opens a diamond, which is the correct bid with 12 balanced and 4-4-3-2 shape. Quick point that this is the only shape that you open a diamond on a 3-card suit, is where you are specifically 4-4-3-2. And it goes pass by south. I told my partner she made a very nice pass here, right? She's got 13 points, but there's nothing to do. You're not strong enough to overcall no trump. You don't have a diamond stopper. You don't have a 5-card suit to overcall. You don't want to double, right? Because now partner's going to bid some number of spades, and you're not going to like that. So she made a very nice pass here. I bid 1 no trump in the balancing seat, and the 1 no trump bid here in the balancing seat ought to be a little bit weaker than it is in the direct seat. Something like 11-16 maybe, instead of 15-18. So I bid 1 no here. I haven't played very much with Valerie, so I didn't know if we would be on the same page here, but I had 14, so I was okay with either interpretation if she thought that I had 11-15 or 15-18. So I bid 1 no and she bid 3 no. That's, good. And East here is just they're just kind of end played at every single opportunity, right? We can get rid of the heart suit. She's going to have to start having very difficult choices. And the question I got actually from this East was, can you tell us how to defend this hand better? I ended up making 5, I believe. And I can point to one thing in the end game where you could have gone a trick better, but if we use our Gib tool, I think you're going to see that every lead has a little green 2 by it. So actually every lead on this board is making 5. And if you'll take the perspective of North, the Jack of Hearts was led. That's a normal looking good lead. And you count the points. There are 27 points between my hand and the dummy. And my left-hand opponent has opened. Like, I just know where everything is on the hand. So, there's not really going to be any guessing here. It's just kind of going to be strip east of her exit cards and keep on throwing her back in over and over and over. So I said there was one place where you could have gone better in the end game. We'll just click through some tricks here. One trick fewer than this. Okay, so 6 clubs, 10 clubs. And we're looking at this at this point. Okay, right. At trick 11, you should probably have a count of the hands. So when I lead the 7 of clubs off the dummy, here it's actually a mistake to blank the queen of diamonds at this point. You are just going to discard whatever declare discards in front of you and then sit back and wait on your last trick. So if I pitch the jack of diamonds here, now you can pitch a diamond and you'll score your king of spades in the end. Or if I pitch the spade like I actually did, that's where you pitch the king of spades and now wait on the queen of diamonds in the end. So that's how you would defend that one a little bit better. Realize you're kind of between a rock and a hard place when declare's got 27 high cards and you know that you're guarding almost all of the defense's assets. And like I say, go back to the Gibb thing, and it says everything leads to making 2 over tricks. If we go to the traveler on this board, let's see. Yeah, so only 2 pairs were in 3-0. So, you know, you could have gone better at trick 11 there, but you're at the mercy of, you happen to be against a north-south pair here that got to the right contract and took their tricks. Like, and you were just kind of destined for a bad score on the board because of that. And sometimes, you know, stuff like that's beyond your control. You can't control if they get to 3-0. So I don't see anything in the chat. I'm still having trouble with my video. So does anyone have any board that they would like to cover? Feel free to pipe in.
You can't see the boards that you actually played. I don't know if it's because it's not ready to be seen or because maybe you are doing your thing.
Are you talking about on your account? You can't see,
Yeah.
or you can see board 6 up right now, right?
Yeah, I can see that. But I mean, if I could look through the boards, I could probably come up with some questions. That's all. I was trying to do it. I was trying to get it on my phone so I could see how we actually played the boards, you know.
Right. I think we're going to want to, with the meeting being this close to actually playing the boards, we're probably going to want to stick to like general questions about things rather than worrying about exactly what happened at our table. Okay. So I'm just going to go back to board 1 here, see if there was anything interesting there, and we'll just kind of go through these. And defense on board 15. Okay, great. Thank you for saving me. Let's talk about this. We are going to go to Renee's table, which is here. So we've got a diamond, a spade, double, 2 spades, 3 diamonds, pass, 3 no. This is exactly the same auction that my partner and I had. So I would expect East would be leading a spade here. Let's see how I do is in my role as Kreskin. Okay, spade leads fun. The jack, I guess, doesn't cost anything here because your partner happens to have the queen 9, but you want to be leading low in this situation from honor 3rd. But nothing weird has gone on yet. And if we think about Declare's tricks at this point, she has 2 and 6 diamonds is 8, and ace king of clubs is 10. And I guess you let an 11th trick through or you wouldn't be asking the question. 10 is legitimate. Right, because the defense can take ace of diamonds and ace king of hearts, and that's all they can do. So what happened next? We played a diamond and another diamond, presumably, and another diamond. Okay, nothing weird has happened yet. And it turns out that East-West could actually just cash their ace-king of hearts here. At the same time, Declare has 3 tricks at this point, and a spade is 4, and 4 diamonds left is 8, and clubs are 10. So as long as West keeps a spade and East keeps a 3rd club, we ought to be fine here. Well, let's see what happened. Declare is going to go out to the king of clubs, I assume, and run the diamonds. So here, West just needs to keep a spade, and East just needs to keep a club. Okay, we're good so far. Still good. East is down to the point where they can't pitch any more clubs because that queen guards the 9 of clubs. Okay, there's the problem right there. You gotta hang on to the clubs. Because I imagine what happened in the end game is Declare scored the 9 of clubs. Yeah, that's where the over trick is coming from. Okay, so rather than pitch a club at this trick, right? You could pitch a spade, right? Instead, your partner's still got the ace of hearts to get to the good spades if she's the one that's in. All right, hope that helps. Still keeping my eyes on this chat, so if anyone has anything, please throw it into there. Nothing interesting happened there. Oh, here's a good one. And I hope my partner's not going to take offense at anything I point out here that maybe she could have done a little bit better. But here's kind of a classic situation that pops up with some frequency. The auction's not that interesting on the first round. It's pass, pass, pass. And then North opens a heart with a nice hand, a 17 count. The heart suit's nothing to write home about as far as texture. And you open a heart, it goes pass, and South has a classic problem here. She has a 1-bid hand, a hand that's worth responding with, but not really anything more than that, right? She's got 9 points. And the candidate bids are 1 spade and 2 hearts. And let's go down what I think is pretty demonstrably the wrong path for a second, which is responding a spade on this hand. The problem is the auction might develop as you see on the screen here. It's going to go pass, and North is going to rebid clubs, right? Because that's the second suit that she has. And when it goes past 2 hearts, like when it rolls back around to me as North, I have a pretty good hand. I have 17. I have 5 losers. But the picture that you've painted as far as what South's hand is that you simply have a preference back to hearts. And I'm expecting like 9 times out of 10 to be buying only 2 hearts in the dummy. So since this is pairs scoring, and since I thought I was on a 5-2 fit, I decided just to pass 2 hearts here. Okay. Whereas if you use South's 1 opportunity to bid to show the heart support, the fact that you have 3-card heart support along with your 6 to 9 points, that makes it much easier for your partner to potentially bid a game or make a game try with these medium type hands. And I would classify the North hand as medium. It's not quite good enough to jam into game. Opposite of simple raise, you will make it easier on them to know that there are 8 trumps versus this auction where it sounds like maybe you only have two. Okay. Just one other thought on that. Since we have been talking this week about playing 4 forfeits versus 5 3-fits, it might still be possible to get back to spades even if South uses her first opportunity to raise hearts. So the only reason you would ever bid spades rather than bidding 2 hearts is because you thought that spades might make a better trump suit. Well, what's the possibility where spades is going to make a better trump suit? It would mean that your partner has 4 spades, and potentially you could play the 4 forfeit better than the 5 3-fit. Well, if there's a game on this hand, partner's still going to require a pretty good hand. So the auction's probably not going to die at 1 heart past 2 hearts. In other words, North could bid 2 spades with a medium type hand. Now you could raise spades, and if you go this route, you get your cake and eat it too. Okay, so use your 1 bid to define your hand tightly. 1 heart, 2 hearts means I've got 6 to 10 and I've got 3 trumps. That's the information that's going to be most often actionable for your partner. And oh, by the way, if spades is right, we might still have time to get back there. Okay, got some stuff going in the chat. That's good. Board 21, how many spades should be bid? One club pass, 1 diamond to West. How many spades should be bid? So good question. Let's talk about a couple of things here. First of all, when you're in this situation, like where your partner couldn't overcall a club, if you make any sort of jump overcall, it can be pretty wide ranging. Like you can have a pretty good hand. Vladimir's got a pretty good hand here. Like if you were dealt this hand, you would open 1 spade. When we have the extra information that our partner couldn't overcall 1 club, we have less to be worried about in the sense of constructive bidding. So if we bid something like 2 spades or 3 spades, it might look a little stronger than preemptive, okay? And so if we do that, and that's because we don't have to worry about us missing a game anymore, right? So 2 spades can be just kind of like a nuisance bid, or 3 spades can be a nuisance bid more than just a strictly preemptive one. So I think Vladimir's got the right idea here of bidding some number of spades other than 1. I think I would content myself with 2 because I don't have any shortness, because I'm 6'3", 2'2". I have admiration for bidding 3 spades, particularly at this vulnerability, right? Putting the maximum pressure on the opponents. Whenever you find yourself trying to decide how high to bid, and this isn't an exact science, it will get better the more you play and the more you calibrate. But the idea is you always want to be bidding the number of your suit where you feel like you're putting your opponents to the last guess. Okay, so if you feel like you could bid 2 spades here and they would still be comfortable not guessing over that, maybe you do bid 3 spades. And now maybe you're much more confident that whatever they do over that, they're the ones who had ventured into uncharted territory. Okay, so that's kind of a theme called making your opponents make the last guess. Here, 3 spades was pretty effective. I doubled because I'm short in spades and I don't know what's right, and it doesn't look right to bid or to sell out here with short spades. I was a little reticent because I don't have that much hand. Like, I'm a little worried about committing us to the 4 level. I think double here should still be takeout. Like if I had a pure penalty double of 3 spades, especially at this vulnerability, I could just bid 3 no trump. All right. And my partner read this double correctly and just ran to 4 clubs. So yeah, I'm fine with 3 spades. 2 spades is probably the traditional bid, I guess. Watch it when you don't have a singleton or a void. but white on red, I have plenty of admiration for going ahead and bidding, you know, one trick more than maybe looks traditional or comfortable or whatever. Would you bid one no trump to show a limit raise with 9 high card points and 1 shortness point?
That was
Donna, if you could put it in the chat or tell me which board number you're talking about. We're going to skip ahead to the question about board 2 from Susan about would I open one no trump? And we'll get back to Donna's about the previous one, hearts. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second. We're going to go to board 2. Would I open one no trump? Oh, right. Okay. And okay, both questions are on this. Great. I am very much in the camp that you open one no trump, even with a 5-card major, if you're in high card point range, which we are here. However, the other stipulation is I want to be specifically 5 cards in my major and 3-3-2 on the outside. Here, I'm not. I'm 5-4-2-2. So that would be why I'm rejecting one no trump here. Also, like I'm slightly heavy. Like if you think about the 5th card in the suit being worth a point, you might call this hand more of like an 18 count than 17 count. So given the fact that I have reasonable alternatives and there are 2 flaws to opening one no trump, that being arguably it's too heavy and I'm 5-4 shaped, I'm going to go ahead and open a heart. Okay, and then to Donna's question, would you bid one no trump to show a limit raise? So first of all, let's think about whether this is a limit raise or not.
No.
We have a vote for no. Let's count our losers and decide whether South has a limit raise for hearts. An opening hand has 7 losers in it. Well, guideline has 7 losers. And a minimum game forcing response also has 7 losers. Okay, opening hand opposite opening hand commits to game. The threshold for what's an opening hand is about 7 losers. Okay, so let's look at South's hand. We have 1 loser in the spade suit. We have 2 losers in the heart suit. It's 3. 3 losers in the diamond suit is 6. And 2 losers in the club suit is 8. We have a surplus of queens, like we have 2 queens and only 1 ace. So I would add a half for that. Looking at 8.5 losers, and at pairs scoring particularly, if you buy the logic that we don't have to bid thin games, I, like as much of a cowboy as I am perhaps to some of you, as far as opening the bidding goes, once I open the bidding, my constructive bidding from there on out tends to be actually on the conservative side. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, we don't have to bid thin games. Please, I hope you hear these words in your nightmares. You don't have to bid thin games at match points. And the second is that if we let our limit raises and our invitations and our bidding after we've opened the bidding be sound, what that does is it continues to incentivize our partner to keep on opening the bidding light if we don't go overboard and bid too much when we've got, you know, an 8 or a 9 count. So it doesn't work if both halves of the partnership are being hyper aggressive. That's where you end up too high. And I would call the South hand just a single raise. Okay, a 2 heart bid. It's a sound 2 heart bid rather than a hyper aggressive 3-card limit raise is the way I would look at it.
Perfect.
Okay? So if you're thinking about things, the opener's job is to get in there and start the fight and make the opponent's lives harder, like make their ranges wider if it's their deal. And then once we figure out that our opponents are being silent and the deal belongs to us, that's when we rein it in. So the opener is aggressive, and then the responder can chill out and actually have her bids. One other thought on this. Let's pretend that we want to treat this as a limit raise, a 3-card limit raise. Like, let's change the queen of spades to the king. Maybe then you could convince me it's a 3-card limit raise. One idea is that you would maybe want to be playing a convention called Drury here, where we could use a bid of 2 clubs as a passed hand to show that we have a invitational 3-card hand for partner. Okay. All right. I don't see any more questions on that one. We've got about 15, 20 minutes left here. So keep on pumping stuff into the chat. The previous one, where Val bid 1 spade instead of support. Yeah, okay, so we've covered all this. Hopefully that's more than you ever wanted to know about board 2. Board 7 from Bill Mears. Again, thank you people who are saving me in chat. What happened on 7? Oh, okay. So here's the cowboy auction my partner and I had. My partner's off in the ether saying, and I. It went pass, pass. By the way, if you're playing, well, let's leave that alone and just think about the constructive aspect of this. It went pass, pass a spade. Okay. Don't open 2 clubs on this. It's just not enough hand, and you have 2 suits that you want to get on the table, potentially those being spades and hearts. If you open 2 clubs on 2 suited hands, you are preempted. You're stealing a bunch of bidding space from your side, and most experts are not going to open 2 clubs when they have 2 suits to describe. Also, like, it's not enough hand, even high card point wise. It's 20. If you open a spade and your partner passes, like, everything's fine. You're not, the times you open 2 clubs on an unbalanced hand ought to be out of fear that if your partner passed, you could actually be missing a game that you have in your own hand. Okay, so that's the 1 spade bid. It went pass. I feel like South should probably just bid 1 no trump here. We were not playing anything fancy as far as Drury or anything. So her 2 club bid here said, theoretically, like a maximum passed hand with 5 clubs, 5 or more clubs. So I think she's a little bit light on that, having 8 points. There's a name for this hand that has all 4 queens in it, but this is a family show. So she bid 2 clubs, and Wes chipped in 2 diamonds as a lead director with 6 diamonds. And the meeting will end in 10 minutes. Great. She chipped in 2 diamonds. I kind of feel like if you want to bid on this hand, again, we should follow the principle of just opening 2 diamonds the first time, because here we've let the opponents exchange information before we jump in with our 2 diamond bid. Also, if the opponents had been like clairvoyant and able to double 2 diamonds here, it's not going to be particularly pretty. So at that point, thinking that my partner had 10 points and 5 clubs, and I've got a 20 count and short diamonds, and not knowing how 4 no trump would be taken, and I didn't see any reason to do anything other than bid 6 clubs. I'm bidding clubs on this hand, and I'm not going to be a wimp and bid 5. 6 clubs actually will have some play on a lot of hands, right? Because if you count the tricks here in 6 clubs, you have 5 spades, 1 heart, 5 clubs, we're up to 11. And if we could rough a diamond, that's 12. However, with the clubs 4-1 and the transportation set up as it is, we can ask Gib here. It turns out that actually, she led the ace of diamonds, and check it out. The only card in her hand to beat the contract is the 4 of clubs, and what hit the table next? The 4 of clubs. The only reason that 6 clubs doesn't make on this hand, though, is because of transportation issues. If there were a way back to South's hand to both get a diamond rough and pull the outstanding trump, 6 clubs could have been made. So without looking at the east-west hands and how they were distributed, I've got no problem being at 6 clubs on this one. Lou Gerber asking to get in. Oh, admit. I did not know I had to manage this, but I just clicked admit all. So hopefully they're in. We're going to go back to what Bill bid on this hand in case his question was specific to the auction that they had. Where is he? W. Mears. Okay. So, look at this. We've got somebody under 30 making some crazy preempt here. Pass 2 diamonds. Leave it to the kids. And North doubled. Yeah, what else can you do? It went pass. It would be helpful here to have something maybe a little bit fancy so that South could describe when he is bidding 3 clubs and he's actually got a reasonable hand versus 3 clubs just because you put a gun to my head and asked me to bid my longest suit. So that's bookmark that or look it up later. There's some treatments called Levensaw which deal with this problem. Okay. But after it went 3 clubs, and assuming we have no idea what the strength is on that, we assume it's not game forcing and partner's a passed hand, but it's pretty wide as to what 3 clubs could be. After that, I think that I would either be cubiting their suit or maybe bidding spades myself as North. I'm not ready to give up on spades. Like, couldn't partner have 3 spades and 5 clubs or something like that and be bidding this way? So I'm going to try and figure out a way to keep the auction forced and mention spades here. As it was, raising clubs and now South correctly assumes that, hey, I could have much less hand than this and bids 5 clubs. I mean, this looks like it's not perfect, but it's reasonable. Just I don't think I want to give up on spades or potentially 3 no trump with the North hand. So that's all. What do you guys get for 5 clubs? You should make 5 clubs. That's part of the problem, not the auction. And if you make 5 clubs, you're not getting a great score for 5 clubs because there's people in 4 spades making, there's people in 3 no making. So actually it matters almost not one bit whether you make 5 clubs or not. If you'd made 5 clubs, you would have beaten my partner and I who were sitting in 6 clubs. And as it was, you tied. So it's worth a half match point on an 8 top. So it's 6% of a board. Can I give another summary on why 4-4 is better than 5-3? Yes. All right, we're going to go. So we got 5 minutes here. We're going to let this one be the last one. Yeah. Let's go to the YouTube channel. So if you guys don't know about this, there are videos on YouTube if you search for Lance Shull. And one of the ones I made this week was called the playing the 4-4 instead of the 5-3. I'll spare you the video. Let's just look at the east-west hands. And we have game values, right? We have 15 opposite 13, that's 28. It's enough for game, it's not enough for slam. And the candidate contract should be 4 spades and 4 hearts. So let's practice counting our tricks if spades were the trump suit here. And little piece of advice, it's usually easier to count the tricks from the hand that has more trumps. Okay, so let's count them from East's perspective. So we go suit by suit. Spades is worth 5 tricks. And you can even cheat and look at the north-south hands here if it helps you. The spades and the hearts broke 3-2, which is what you expect kind of most of the time. So 5 spades, 4 hearts is 9, the ace of clubs is 10, and the ace of diamonds is 11. Okay, that's if we play spades. In hearts, we have the same 11, right? We have 5 spades, 4 hearts, 1 club, and 1 diamond. But what using hearts as the trump suit is going to accomplish is that after we draw 3 rounds of trump, we can play our spades, and on the 4th spade, we can pitch a club from the dummy. And since the hearts broke 3-2, we can end up roughing that 3 of clubs in the dummy, right, for a 12th trick, is why the 4-4 works better. You want to use the 5-3 fit as the long suit to dump losers, and then the 4-4 fit serves as the trump suit. This hand was a great example. Like, it's just a crystal clear example of why to play the 4-4 instead of the 5-3. There are other reasons that weren't germane to this hand, I suppose. But this is the general principle, right? Is that playing the 4-4 trump fit, you get to score 4 trumps in a long hand and a rough in the other one. And oh, by the way, you still score the 5 spade tricks. Whereas if spades are trump, the short trump hand is going to be out of trumps after we pull trump, right? And the short trump hand is the one that creates extra tricks. We never create extra tricks by roughing in the 5-card hand. We create extra tricks by roughing in the 3-card hand. One more idea on that, and we've got like a minute and a half left. There's another video. This is a fresh one from today called Don't Draw the Trump. This is from last night. And thanks everybody for playing today and for joining. It's possible we're all just going to get booted out of here in 90 seconds. You can check out this video. It's called Don't Draw the Trumps. But again, if you look at the East-West hands, we should have scored 12 tricks on this hand. 6 hearts, the ace-king of spades, the ace-king of diamonds, the ace of clubs, and we should have been able to rough a diamond in the West hand if we don't make the mistake of drawing the trumps first. But why I bring this up again is the way we create extra tricks is by roughing a card from a side suit to the hand that has fewer trumps. In other words, if I rough clubs to the 6-card trump hand, those are tricks I already counted for. Those are the 6-heart tricks I already counted for. It's ice in the winter. It's something I already have. But if I don't pull the trump prematurely and I eventually rough a diamond in the dummy, that's my 12th trick. Okay. So I hope that we can keep this going and do this again next Friday. Thank you all for being part of this, and thanks for such great attendance today. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend and happy bridge. All right, guys, later on.
Thanks, Lance. That was great.
All right. Hey. Good. Just trying to figure out how to end the meeting.